What if the next great Maple Ridge business is listening to this right now? Growth only works if people can build livelihood here. And more people are taking that leap than you might actually think. So what does the opportunity actually look like in Maple Ridge? And what common mistakes do many businesses make when getting started? Let's look into this. This is the Real Ridge Podcast, where we share the stories behind the headlines on topics that are shaping Maple Ridge. Today, we're talking about entrepreneurship, momentum, and what it really takes to start and grow a business locally with Kristi Maier, CEO of the Meadows Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, Kristi.
Thank you for having me, Dan. I really appreciate it.
Let's just get right into this. How long have you been with the Chamber now?
So I started as executive director in 2022 in October. And then I think it was 8 months later, my board decided to make me the CEO of the Meadows Chamber of Commerce. We, in those years, we've done a rebrand. We were the Chamber of Commerce serving Maple Ridge and Meadows for years. And yeah, we did a rebrand. We did lots of stuff to grow as an organization. So yeah, I've been in the role now for 3.5 years.
What were you doing before that?
So I worked at the Greater Langley Chamber of Commerce. Yeah, so it's 10 years working in chamber world. I love it. I ended up randomly with chambers way back 10 years ago. I actually thought it was government at first when I applied for it. And they called me for an interview. And the first thing they asked me was, do you know what a chamber is? I was honest. I had no idea. And I said to them, is it government? And they said, no, we're nonprofit. So yeah, I have a long history with chambers. And I think, this is my future. I love it. I love it so much.
So before we get into more direct lines of question, for our listeners, can you tell us what is the Chamber of Commerce? What is that? What does that mean? What does it do? Can you elaborate on that?
Do you want the long story or the short story?
Let's go with the short version.
Well, I'll keep it short. So we're a nonprofit organization. We're different than a charity. We are not a charity. We're under the Societies Act. And we're a business organization. Ultimately, we are the voice of business for Maple Ridge and Meadows. We represent both communities. Our job is to advocate for the business community. Ultimately, businesses have a voice, but sometimes they have a hard time getting their voice heard. And so it is the Chamber's role to amplify that. We're a membership-based organization, so we do have businesses that join the Chamber with a fee, and they get promotion. This year alone, we have 47 events planned for 2026.
47?
47.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a busy year, but our members get to attend those events either free or at a discounted rate. And you actually don't need to have a business in Maple Ridge or Meadows to join the Chamber. We have a lot of businesses in Coquitlam, in Langley, that see value of being part of the Meadows Chamber of Commerce because they can still do business over here. Yeah, so we have all these promotional opportunities, and ultimately, we're here to support the business community. We're part of the BC Chamber of Commerce, so we are at a provincial level representing our community as well. So we can go and speak on policy work that multiple communities are doing together and have a larger voice that we can go to the provincial government and say, look, this is what our business community needs. We need these policies in place. And yeah, really proud to be an advocate and a voice for this community. I think this community is special, really.
Well, I agree with you. It is special. Recently went to one of your networking events a couple of weeks ago, and you had a really great milestone.
Yeah, we did.
Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah. So I think when I first started, our chamber was going through a little bit of a troubled time. We were shifting gears, changing leadership. And when I had come on, we were at the lower end of the 400 mark for members. And I'm used to running a chamber or being part of a chamber that had 1,000 members. So it was different for me. My ultimate goal was to hit the 500 mark. Yeah, I was giving myself some time, but we celebrated 550 members this past month. So really excited.
That's exciting to hear. And there's a diverse group of people that are part of the chamber. And when you host your networking events, you choose different locations. And this last one was at Nura Homes. Tell us a little bit about that. What did you see? Who were there roughly? And why are they there? Why do people take time out of their busy schedules to come to a networking event?
I mean, oh man, when a new member joins, first thing I say to them is, please come to our networking socials. You promoting your business is so important, in my opinion. Handing your business card out, making connections, meeting people in the community, really, really important. I've had multiple members come up to me saying like, thank you so much for having these networking socials. I've grown my business substantially since attending these and putting the time in. I mean, it is a time commitment, right? We do a networking social almost every month. I think there's only 1 month that we don't do one, and it's because of our gala. This year, I think, is actually different. But yeah, it's a time commitment, but it's so worth it. Nora is special. It's a beautiful development here in Maple Ridge. Gorgeous show home, over 4,000 square feet. And we wanted to showcase, they're one of our premier partners, and we wanted to showcase how beautiful their homes are, but then also giving the businesses an opportunity to go network. So we had, We had 68 people in that home for a networking social. And the energy in the room was so amazing. It was special. And not only were we celebrating the 550 members, we were also celebrating Nora and trying to promote them. And that's what this is all about. These networking socials are not really about the chamber. Yes, we're putting it on and we're giving the members and non-members an opportunity to come and see what we're all about. But it's about our showcasing a business that's hosting, and it's about creating an opportunity for businesses to come together. There's no strings attached. It's laid back, right? Come, network, and enjoy yourselves. Have some food, have a drink.
And where does the food come from?
Well, the food at Nora was Humble Roots. He is one of my board members, a small business here in Maple Ridge, but one of my favorite restaurants here. Not just because he's my board member, but I've loved Humble Roots from the very beginning since I moved here. And Tyler Toad, the owner of Humble Roots, is such a community champion. He gives back to our organization time and time again. And yeah, he provided the catering for that event, and it was amazing.
It was. The food was wonderful. As we go through the questions, and there's an example of advocacy. So as we go through the questions, I want you to take that opportunity to showcase and advocate for some of your members. So just keep that in the back of your mind. And when the opportunity presents itself, have at her.
Amazing. And I wish I could advocate for everybody because all our members are amazing, but we have 550 of them. So I'll do my best to pick and choose where I can.
Well, thank you very much for that introduction. So now let's just get right into this. The first thing I want to talk about is we hear all sorts of things out on social media, a lot of great and a lot not so great. You know, we hear there's no business opportunity in Maple Ridge. So I want you to just talk a little bit about that. What kinds of new business opportunities are you seeing emerge in Maple Ridge right now?
Well, first, that narrative is so wrong, in my opinion. You know, being an advocate for the business community, to say that we have no businesses or, you know, businesses are shutting down and we're not seeing growth is not the truth. And here's the thing. We need to be positive about this community. The negativity is not getting us anywhere. That's something that I'm very passionate about. When we're negative, we're hurting our community. And so I think changing that mindset of, okay, yes, we don't have a lot of big box shops here in Maple Ridge, but we have a lot of amazing small and medium businesses here. And there's a lot of potential here for growing your business. I mean, we're one of the fastest growing municipalities in the Lower Mainland. We're seeing people move here. And with growth in people moving here, that means more people are shopping and more people are spending their money here in the community. You know, we did the Shop Local campaign with the BIA, and it just showcases what amazing businesses we have. And I've got a lot of feedback from that campaign actually about, oh, I didn't know there was a butcher down by the West Coast Express. And
Iron Butcher?
Iron Butcher. Yeah, there we go. Iron Butcher. Yeah. You know, we've got such amazing business. Therapy Clothing right up the road down, I think it's 250, what is it, 256? Somewhere down that way. But it's special. You know, I want to encourage our residents to shop local. I think it's really important for them to spend money at our businesses. We've had a ton of new businesses opening here in Maple Ridge. I mean, one of them being that really cool bike shop, our bike.
North Shore Bike Park.
Yeah. How cool is that?
We talked about this at another podcast, and you know, this was a company that was looking to move their really transformational bike park to another location, and they chose Maple Ridge for many reasons. So far, it seems to be quite a hit with the younger folks, and when you've got things for younger folks to do, well, that's always a good thing. But yes, I agree with you.
No, it's great. And we saw a new business join. We've had so many new businesses join the chamber recently, but one of them being a company called We Prints. And they're a laser printing company here in Maple Ridge. And they're all about community. They did, there's another member of ours, but they are in Pitt Meadows called Tomes and Tales. And they did all the printing for that business, all of their laser printing. And I think that's not only innovative, but it's really cool business to be here in Maple Ridge. You know, we've got a mobile yoga business, Yoga Studios, and she's amazing. And again, new business. There's so much potential here in this community. There's so much room for businesses to move here. You know, the 256 industrial also, like, I think that's massive, right?
It absolutely is. And that developing our 256 industrial lands will go a long way to helping reduce the residential tax burden on our people. But, you know, we go out to many store openings. I see you there. You see me there. We've got the ribbon cutting. Everybody loves the ribbon cutting. You know, I just want to focus on one we recently did. The reason being is because it was another coffee shop that opened up next to another coffee shop. And at first glance, people are going, why would a coffee shop open up to another coffee shop? And of course, I'm talking about Project Plus Blends across the street from Gradia. And let's talk about that. Are they both really the same coffee shop?
No, they're so different. One is, I think, more Filipino focused. And I could be wrong on Gradia, but I think that one's more European. So I think they're very different. And they're so busy. Both of them are so busy. I actually went to a project last weekend. It was crazy busy, but I love seeing that. It makes my heart so happy to see a new business thriving. You know, we did a ribbon cutting at Little Donkey and some of the best Mexican food I've ever had. Let me be clear on that. Their burritos and tacos are amazing. Shout out to Little Donkey. Such a wonderful business. The people that own it are just so kind and caring. And that grand opening sticks out to me a little bit. You know, what you had said in your speech about opening a business here in this community, I think was really special. And yeah, these ribbon cuttings have been really fun to do.
Yeah, and I don't think I've seen very many ribbon cuttings over the last decade, but we're certainly seen to focus a lot more on that to help support our local businesses. The Shop Local campaign has been phenomenal. And I've actually seen, since those campaigns on social media, I've actually seen a lot of other businesses start to step up their own social media and draw people in. So, I mean, it's difficult. You want to open up a business and you have an idea, but you're missing a lot of pieces to that puzzle. And that's where the chamber comes in. But let's just wrap up. Going back to, we talked about what kind of businesses are there. Are you seeing any trends? Are you seeing anything that people are starting to inquire more about in different sectors?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like just my perspective, we're seeing just a whole slew of different businesses and members coming through. I don't know if I'm seeing a specific industry necessarily, you know, everything from a coffee shop to industrial, right? We had one member join, I think it was last year, Jewel, they're a piping business, and he did a tour with me through the business, and man, how impressive is that? So honestly, like we're starting to see businesses come here, but one thing I love is the diversity of the businesses coming to Maple Ridge.
Right. Which leads me to my next question. Why does somebody want to come to Maple Ridge and open up a business here?
I mean, like I mentioned, I say this to a lot of people. We're one of the fastest growing communities in the Lower Mainland. I also love that Maple Ridge is so central, right? When you talk about a community that kind of connects everywhere, it's Maple Ridge. We're right across the bridge to Langley. Tri-Cities is just a hop, skip away. But honestly, we are central. You know, I'll have someone come to me and say, oh, Maple Ridge just feels so far. I'm like, really? You know what's far is hope. That's far. We are not far. We're starting to see businesses also understand that, you know, it's cheaper to have a business in Maple Ridge versus Vancouver. Vancouver has become extremely expensive for businesses to have commercial space there, to live there. So we're starting to see more businesses leaving the downtown area and moving out to Maple Ridge. I really think there's a ton of opportunity here for growth. We are growing so rapidly, and I want businesses to be part of that growth.
So you're a business owner and you are deciding whether you want to come to Maple Ridge or Langley or some other place. What are the top three things that you think that they would be looking for before making that final decision?
Well, I mean, again, it all depends on the business. If you're looking for commercial space, we're pretty unique in that yes, we don't have a ton of it, but I believe that our commercial space is very unique in its look and its space. The amount of support you get from this community. Someone had mentioned to me at my event a couple days ago, I had the CEO of ICBC come and speak, and one of their lead staff came up to me and she said, Maple Ridge is one of my favorite places because everyone knows everyone in this room. They're there to support the community, like championing each other. And I think that's really special. You don't get that everywhere. So you don't feel like you're on an island in Maple Ridge, if that makes any sense, right? You come, you feel support. Other businesses are there to rally behind you and help you. I think that's really special. Even if you're in a competitive, or you have, sorry, not competitive, but you have the same business. You have two spas that open in Maple Ridge. That's okay. There's room for everyone. That's the mentality here. I love that. I mean, the third, look at our community. It's so beautiful. Opening a business here, you get to enjoy the beauty of this community. I love that we can, and I'm a resident of Maple Ridge. I've lived here for years, raising my son here. And I love that I can go shop downtown and get everything I need down there. And then I can also go for a hike up at Thornhill. Again, you can't have that in every community. And we have that here.
Excellent. So let's go into what kind of misconceptions do people have about starting or growing a business here?
How much time do we have? Oh, man. One thing I hate the most is people downplay Maple Ridge. I represent Maple Ridge and Pitt Meadows in both communities. Don't count us out. We're here to play. We're not that sleepy town anymore. We're not the horse and carriage town anymore. We're way beyond that. We're playing the big leagues along with other larger municipalities now. And that's one thing I really love. And what I really want to shine a light on. Growth of the chamber is really special too, because we're at a growth rate with the larger municipality chambers. And I'm really proud of that. So it's just seeing growth as a whole. I have worked in other cities and I've never seen the connection like I've seen here. And that's something that I think we need to all be very proud of. We need to be proud of our city. We need to support our businesses. We need to, like I mentioned in the beginning, stop being so negative and really figure out a way. You live here. You have a business here. Treat it special. It's special. Be proud of it. Great things will happen when people come together with purpose and support one another. Truly.
I 100% agree with that. I, more than most, will understand about the negativity. And to an extent, you're going to see that in many places. But let's try to flip the dial on that one. When we talk about our city in a positive way, when we go on social media and your organization, our organization, when we go on social media and we focus on the positive, does that mean that we're ignoring the negative?
We know we've got things we need to work on. Every city has things we need to work on. We know that. And of course, we are going to strive to get through those things. But again, having that negative narrative, you're going backwards.
So let's focus on the positive narrative then. What are the benefits of having a positive narrative?
I mean, positive mindset, they've proven that positive mindset gets you much further than being negative. Focus on the positive. Like I said, we know there's negative out there. We know there's things that we need to work on. But if we focus on the positive, people are going to come. People like to gravitate around positivity. And I mean, honestly, the benefits of being positive outweigh the negative tenfold.
I think that when we look at some of our newer businesses that have been popping up, they're great business. We talk about Abracadabra. Started off at the farmer's market. Their sourdough bread, and the people loved it. So they decided, you know what, let's open up a shop here, right? Now you've got another store that's got a very unique product, and they're expanding their product line, which is great, all having to do with focaccia. And the challenge is not with their product line. The challenge is making sure people come out and support them, because a lot of people don't know that they're there. And that's the advocacy from the chamber. How do we get more people to come downtown and look at all these unique businesses, right? And we've talked about a few of them. So how can we help those new businesses attract their clients that they need and make them to the point that they're profitable so that they will stay here. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, I mean, Abracashaba is one that I love a lot. They're one of our members. We actually use them for catering at our last event with ICBC. And we put a sign up saying that they were a food sponsor. And just the people in the room were like, I had no idea this business was there. This is great. Like the food was delicious. And if I can get half of those people to go in and buy a sandwich, I love that. That's great. Just the promotion of it, right? I've had some businesses come up to me and say, people are complaining about my prices. They're too high. Well, you're also not Superstore. You're not, making cupcakes with lard. You're making cupcakes with butter. There's a cost to those things. And these businesses have to know their bottom line in order to make money. So I think that's really important is that when you're purchasing local, you're getting quality. Nothing against Superstore, but you're not getting Superstore. You're getting quality. And understanding, I mean, Mayor Ruimy, you and I had conversations about knowing your bottom line, and I think that's really important too. But yeah, I do think that there's a lot the community can do to come and support local and just understand that it's really hard to own a business. But businesses like Vanilla Bean Bake Shop and Abracashaba and Little Donkey and all these such amazing businesses in our downtown core really need our community support. And we need to rally behind our businesses.
Yeah. And what I really appreciate at your events is you are cycling through different vendors. So whether it be Humble Roots or Whisk or Vanilla Bean, she does the best dessert, not going to say tray, table of all the yummiest desserts you can ever see. And she's been doing that for a while. And what I like about that is that's how you grow your business. That's how you show people what my product line is. And that's interesting. So are there any other up and coming ones that we should know about?
You talked about Vanilla Bean, and she also started as a home-based business, right? And here she is. The owner has a beautiful bakery at the Haney Mall. And it just shows like when you put your mind to something, you can achieve it. She had a vision that she wanted to go from home-based and she wanted to open up her own bakery and have staff and be a bigger business. And she did it.
Another one that actually you've used for catering that's recently home-based has opened up at the airport, Sultan's here. And they do a lot of catering.
They do. They catered our women's event.
Yes. So let's move from there and let's talk about how the Chamber supports early stage founders versus established businesses, because there's a very different need for each one. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, we want to make sure that we support businesses in every level of their growth. For new businesses, we get a lot of people calling us saying, I'm looking to open a business here in Maple Ridge. How do I do it? What do I do? I'm lucky to have such amazing staff that really care about this community and are willing to help. Okay, here are their first steps. Do you have a business name? They'll come in, we'll help them find their business name. It's very overwhelming when you're opening a business. We've also created a new business package that anyone can get. It goes through step by step on how to start a business, checklist, links that you can get support or funding or groups that you can be part of. Everything is in that package in starting your business. So making sure that we're supporting. The grand openings are another one. So say you've come to us, you got the new business package, you've gone through the checklist, we've helped you through the stages of opening your business, and now you're ready to launch. Well, let's do a celebratory event. Let's do a ribbon cutting ceremony and do social media. We're really proud of our social media. The Chamber, I mean this in the nicest way. People say the Chamber is definitely an old boys club. No longer. Sorry, it's not happening. We are now diverse in not only gender, but in race, in business. It's so amazing. And that was one of my number one goals, to make sure that we can cater to everyone. And so when businesses now join the Chamber, they go, oh, okay. Their board has men and women on our board. There's young business owners, there's older business owners, and it's really great. Yeah, so that's how we support the new businesses. And then, of course, when they join the Chamber, there's a ton that we do for them. Promotion on our social. I said we were proud of our social media. definitely that has grown over 100%. Our social media has grown over 100% in followers, in clicks, in all of it. And so we want to make sure that our members are getting that same traction as we are. So we use our social media as a platform to showcase the businesses as well. And then from there, we've created a new event called Breakfast in Business. And this event is really special. We create learning sessions for our business community. And you don't have to be a member to attend these, but it is free for our members to attend. We recently did one on AI, how to implement AI in your business. A lot of our members learned a lot. They were like, we didn't realize that ChatGPT wasn't safe for business because of the rules behind it. And we did one on marketing, how to create a story on your social media. These are the things that we want to implement in the chamber for our members, for our business community. Because let's be real, a lot of these small businesses, and when you're first starting, you're the cook, you're the cleaner, you're the accountant, you're everything. They don't have the time or the opportunity to go and hire people to understand HR policy and to understand your bottom line. They don't. And so if we can provide that, we'll do it.
Yeah, having spent some time teaching at the Douglas College self-employment program, I've noticed that there's people who get into business because they love making sandwiches. Not so much love being the manager or the administrator. And they focus so much on the day-to-day that they don't have time to look at the vision. Where's my business going to be 6 months from now? Where's my business going to be a year from now? Where's it going to be 5 years from now? And that is something that every entrepreneur needs to understand, because as you're right, they don't have time to do a lot of things. But if they don't invest time in that, then that becomes a challenge. And I know that we talked about that with one of your breakfast seminars. It was a very simple one that most people didn't pay attention to, and that was your bottom line. What does your profit and loss statement look like? What's the break even? So you held a workshop on that. Let's talk about that.
It was sold out. So thank you for that, because you and I had conversations about that. And I don't come from a financial background, right? Like I can plan an event with my eyes closed and support business. But when it comes to that kind of stuff, I don't know a lot about. But we promoted it. We held it. I think knowing your bottom line was a really strong title, and it attracted a lot of people. I had booked a smaller room at the Act for it because I thought, we'll see how many people we get. I had a waiting list of like 15 people that wanted to be part of it, and we had sold out. It's because, yes, you're a good baker and you're good at whatever you're passionate about. Doesn't mean you're good at knowing your bottom line, right? And so that's why it was sold out, I think, because business owners understand that it's important. It's just not something that's top of mind for them, I think.
Oh, it's challenging because it's not just coming up with a concept. It's not just coming up with a location. It's not just coming up with a design. It's not just coming up with a product line. It's actually executing all those elements together and then making sure that you're funded long enough that your business has the opportunity to grow. And that's the challenge for some folks. So when we look at what you're offering, that is a real benefit to folks in the industry, to new entrepreneurs, and to anybody that's listening today, that if you have questions and you want to participate or you want to get involved or you want to be potentially thinking about opening up a business, Chamber is the first place you should go to.
Yeah, we're here to support, and we'll do whatever we can to help get businesses on their feet. You know, one talked about some of the getting businesses started. We have like a newer category that we brought on for our Business Excellence Awards last year, and it's New Business of the Year. And it's showcasing the new businesses in our community. And funny enough, it's one of our largest categories that we have. And that's pretty cool. I love that. It's special. You know, we have 11 categories, but one of them is this new business. And when I see all the nominations come in, it's really rewarding. You feel like you've done something, you've helped in some way, even if it's really small, just to get these businesses to open here in this community.
So when you talk about your business awards,
oh man, I'm passionate about this gala.
Tell us about the value of that. Is this just a party for the sake of having a party?
No, it is not. But it also is a celebratory event. It's about business. This event is not about the chamber. We work 6 months on this event. My team and I, we put our hearts into this event. And the reason being is because it's not about us. It's about the business community. You don't need to be a member to be nominated. I think we stand out with our gala because we do a theme every year. I'll kind of speak on last year. Last year was Alice in Wonderland, and man, was it a fun time. We wanted to create an event that showcased business, but also an event that our community look forward to year after year. And this year, it's Great Gatsby. We sold out in a month and a half. I couldn't believe it. It was crazy. We opened registration. We did early bird pricing. And I was panicking on a weekend. I said to my team, shut it down, shut it down. We need room for sponsors. Like, we have no tickets. So my team shut it down, and we had a waiting list of 75 people. So we could have sold a room of almost 400 people for this year's gala. And I wish we had a venue that could hold 400 people, but we don't. We have to make do with what we have, but it's really fun. Last year, I remember standing back and looking around the room and seeing all these business owners and with smiles on their faces. And Jeff Baker, he's our host again this year. He works for the city in economic development. He said something that really stuck out to me on the stage. He said, tonight we can forget about the outside world for a few hours and come together and celebrate and have fun, because it's not easy out there right now. You know, there's a lot of stuff that is kind of hanging over us as business owners with the tariffs in the US and all of that. Yet we can step away and have fun together for this event. And so that was the goal, ultimately.
We could talk about this all day long, but I wanted to maybe just jump into how you advocate. The Chamber is one of our biggest champions, along with the BIA. And, some folks may think that, oh, well, you're all just one big happy family. But that's not the case. You go out and you advocate for your businesses and your members. What does that mean? What does that look like?
Yeah. I mean, one thing I'm really proud of is we focus very heavily on local policy and advocacy. Yes, we do it at a provincial level, but I think it's our duty as a chamber to advocate locally. We have a fee-for-service agreement with both of our cities, City of Maple Ridge and the City of Meadows. That's not you guys paying us to say certain things and do certain things. We have a fee-for-service in place where we provide value to the members, and in return, we're able to afford to do that. Our women's event is a great example. We partner on the Celebrating Women in Business event, and it's us coming together to do something for the greater good of this community. But I also know that the businesses have issues. And I think it's really important. I would say this to every chamber that I talk to. Try to work with your municipality. They know you're an advocate for the business community, and you're not always going to agree on everything. There are going to be times where you're going to disagree, and that's okay. That's advocacy. But I think building that relationship is really important to have productive advocacy.
Yeah, I know from my perspective, there's so many things going on in the city in so many different areas. It's not possible to know everything. And while we have great people working for us, Jeff Baker, you mentioned, Draven, who brings in a lot of the movie industry business that we're seeing, those are examples of being able to work together. But when you bring stuff to our attention, there's that opportunity to go, I didn't know this was happening. I didn't know that this area was, being hit with something challenging for them. And that advocacy is about being able to bring things to light, to the attention of the right people, and asking ourselves, is there a solution here? What can we do to mitigate? But if we don't know that, then how do we move forward? And that's what I appreciate from the chamber, is you advocate for your members by taking their concerns and bringing them forward to a level that has potentially the opportunity to improve upon those situations. So for me, to have well-run, well-working Chamber of Commerce is good not only for the chamber, not only for the businesses, but for the entire community. And the more that we're able to do that, the more those businesses are able to not just survive, but thrive. And that's the goal, I think, for all of our organizations, whether it be the city, the chamber, or the BIA. So last question, if somebody's listening to this and thinking, maybe I want to start something, what's their first step?
I mean, definitely have a plan in place. First start with your goals. What are your goals? And then from your goals, you build out your business. Business planning, I think, is so important. Making sure you have a business plan in place. Doing your research as well, I think, is also really important. It's a lot of hard work to own a business. It's not easy. Opening a business is really, really hard. And understanding that it's not easy, I think, is also really, really important. And then also leaning on your community, right? Ask for help. Join the chamber. If you're in the downtown core, ask your BIA. Come to networking socials. lean on your community. Ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it, I think is really important.
So just to finish that section off, if I'm somebody looking to start something or I'm interested in businesses, where do I get all this information?
Come to the chamber. We got it.
Do you have social media that will have that information handy?
You can visit our website. We have a new business page on our website. We are going through a redevelopment of our website currently, so it's a work in progress. But go to our website. We have a new business webpage there with all the information. Give us a call, though. Honestly, call us. We're here to help. We want to support you.
And of course, follow.
Follow us on social media.
There's so many things going on. Like we were at the 1-year anniversary of Mucho Burrito.
We were.
We were. And if you were there, you would have seen me making a burrito, going back to my old roots. And actually, the previous coffee shop we opened, I was giving them a coaching training on how to make a good latte. But this is being able to tap into everybody in the neighborhood, being able to go to when you don't have answers to your questions, you can come to the Economic Development Office, you can reach out to the chamber. There's so many people there that are interested and wanting to expand our business here in Maple Ridge. Everybody is hungry for it. And when you put all the pieces together, strong chamber, strong VIA, strong relationships, great collaboration, that's the recipe for success.
There you go. I love that.
Kristi, thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy day.
Of course. I'm so happy to be here. I love this. This is great.
Thank you very much.